Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're diving into a topic that might surprise you, but trust me, it's one that you've likely experienced at some point in your life. Ever wondered how people with high IQs fall for tricks and manipulations? You might think that being smart would protect you from falling for these tactics, but the truth is much more nuanced than that. Today we're going to uncover why even the smartest among us can find ourselves caught in these webs of manipulation. And by the end of this video, you'll have a shocking realization about who is most susceptible to manipulation. But before we dive in, let's quickly get comfortable. If you're new here, welcome. We explore the intricate world of human behavior and relationships. So if those topics spark your curiosity, consider subscribing to stay updated on our latest findings. Let's kick this off with a surprising statement. You might think that being smart would shield you from manipulation, right? After all, if you're quick on your feet and can spot patterns, you'd probably think that manipulation tactics wouldn't work on you. But here's where things take an unexpected twist. It turns out that manipulation doesn't necessarily target your intelligence directly. Instead, it preys on a much more vulnerable aspect of human nature, your emotions and trust. Think about it. When someone fakes empathy or understanding, it's not your intellectual capacity that drops its guard. It's your emotional side that opens up. Suddenly, logic takes a back seat and you're swept away in a current of feelings. This is precisely where manipulators excel. They become masters of creating a sense of emotional connection, making you believe that you're not just interacting with someone, you're connecting with a kindred spirit. And it's this emotional vulnerability that becomes your weak point, not your intelligence. Now let's look at a situation many of us have likely encountered. Imagine you're under pressure, maybe facing a challenging project at work or a stressful situation at home. In that state of emotional vulnerability, someone steps in offering support and understanding. They seem to genuinely connect with your struggles and offer solutions that make sense at the time. But what if we told you that this person might not have your best interests at heart? What if their empathy was nothing but a facade to gain your trust? This is a tactic commonly used by manipulators. They sense vulnerability and offer aid, all while laying the groundwork for manipulation. Your immediate reaction might be to dismiss such a scenario. You might think, I'm smart enough to spot that coming. But the truth is, manipulation thrives in moments of emotional duress. When you're feeling vulnerable, your judgment can become clouded. That seemingly helpful person might be your downfall. It's not because you're not intelligent enough to understand their motives, but because your emotional state makes you more susceptible to their tactics. Being smart isn't the shield you think it is against manipulation. While intelligence can help you recognize certain manipulative patterns, it's no guarantee. As we've discussed, manipulators often prey on our emotions rather than our intellect. They create scenarios that exploit our vulnerabilities, whether it's through feigning empathy or offering aid when we're down. And it's our emotional responses, not our IQs, that make us vulnerable. You see, manipulation comes in many forms, from the subtle to the overt. Sometimes it's hidden behind a veil of kindness or veiled threats. Other times it is a calculated game of emotional chess, where every move is designed to put you at a disadvantage. And here's where things get really interesting. Manipulation doesn't just happen to ordinary people. It can affect anyone, regardless of their intelligence. Even the smartest among us can fall prey to its tactics, because manipulation isn't an IQ test. It's a psychological game that exploits our innate human tendencies. One of the ways manipulators gain the upper hand is by exploiting something called cognitive dissonance. This psychological phenomenon occurs when our actions don't align with our beliefs, causing mental discomfort. Let's say you're a highly intelligent individual who believes strongly in ethical behavior. A manipulator might present you with a situation where you have to choose between doing something unethical but beneficial for you and staying true to your ethics, but potentially harming your interests. This conflict between your actions and beliefs creates cognitive dissonance, a sort of mental unease. Now, if the manipulator has been successful in building an emotional connection with you, you might be more inclined to listen to their justifications or rationalizations, even if they're not logical. Your desire to maintain the emotional bond could overpower your intellect's ability to reason. Another way manipulation takes root is through something known as confirmation bias. This is our tendency to favor information that confirms our existing beliefs while ignoring or downplaying contradictory evidence. Let's imagine you're involved in a heated debate with someone you consider to be emotionally manipulative. They present you with facts that challenge your perspective. However, because of confirmation bias, you might give more weight to those facts that support your viewpoint and brush aside those that do, even if they're logically sound. This selective attention allows the manipulator to steer the narrative in a way that benefits them. All because your intelligence is being overshadowed by your emotional biases. But hold on a minute. You might be thinking so smart people are vulnerable to manipulation. Does that mean they actually get manipulated more often? Well, that's where things get really interesting. Because the answer is not straightforward. Research suggests that smart people may actually be less likely to fall for obvious or overt manipulation tactics. But they could be more susceptible to subtle forms of manipulation. Their overconfidence in their own intelligence could create a false sense of security, making them less likely to suspect manipulation altogether. On the other hand, their intelligence might make them better at spotting inconsistencies or logical fallacies in arguments, which could lead to more calculated manipulators targeting them. If you're a self-proclaimed skeptic, always questioning and analyzing everything, you might think that manipulation just wouldn't work on you. But here's the catch. Manipulation isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's hidden beneath layers of logic and rationality. For instance, let's say someone presents you with an argument that seems airtight, with every point perfectly in line and perfectly timed. It sounds logical, but there's a catch. They're leaving out crucial details, planting just enough information to make their case seem strong without fully revealing the full picture. In this scenario, you might be admiring the logic of the argument without realizing that it's incomplete. And that's where the manipulation lies. You're so focused on the intellectual aspect that you fail to see the emotional aspect, your actual feelings about the situation. This type of manipulation can be particularly tricky for smart people because it plays to their strengths. They're used to dealing with logical arguments and may not be prepared for the emotional aspect of manipulation. In fact, smart people might be more prone to emotional manipulation because they tend to be more confident in their abilities. They might think, "I'm smart enough to handle this," or "I won't fall for that." This overconfidence could make them less cautious and more susceptible to manipulation. And then there are the times when you might think you're being manipulated, but you're not. This can be confusing and frustrating, especially if you're a smart person who prides themselves on their ability to spot manipulation. In cases like these, it's important to take a step back and analyze the situation objectively. Sometimes what appears to be manipulation might just be someone trying to have a different perspective. Just because someone challenges your viewpoint doesn't mean they're manipulating you. It could simply mean that they have a different opinion. Manipulation often involves an imbalance of power or an attempt to control someone through emotional means. If you feel that someone is trying to exert undue influence over you, it might be worth considering whether there's a power imbalance in the relationship. If so, this could be a red flag indicating that the person might be trying to manipulate you. And let's not forget the gaslighting tactics that can leave you questioning your own sanity. Gaslighting is a form of emotional manipulation where a person seeks to convince you that your thoughts, perceptions, or beliefs are mistaken for a purpose, typically to exert power and control over you. It can be incredibly difficult to detect, especially if the gaslighter is skilled at what they do. Over time, you might start doubting your own memories, feelings, and even your sanity. So how do you defend yourself against this insidious form of manipulation? The key is to be aware of the signs of gaslighting and to trust your instincts. If you feel like something isn't right, even if you can't put your finger on it, it's essential to take a step back and evaluate the situation objectively. Remember, manipulation doesn't always come in an obvious package. Sometimes it masquerades as logic or reason, preying on our strengths rather than our weaknesses. So while being smart might not be the shield you think it is against manipulation, recognizing these tactics and trusting your instincts can help you navigate the complexities of human interaction with more confidence. Don't forget, knowledge is power. By understanding how manipulation works, you can better protect yourself from its clutches. So keep learning, keep questioning, and keep being smart. We've come to the end of another thought-provoking video. Don't forget to subscribe for more intriguing psychology content. And if you found this video valuable, give it a like and share it with a friend. Thanks for watching. Until next time.